So let's start the revision from chapter number 20. Remember, I will not be explaining the whole chapter line to line, but I will be just discussing the summary of the chapter. As this chapter's already been completed, all the explanation already have been given in the previous videos, so you are going to listen to only the summary of the chapter, only the gist of the chapter. So here in Whose Forest, it is the story of the Adivasi, means tribal people, and also the story of Suryamani, her struggles, how she got there, how she became a girl star. Here in forest, the Adivasi who call themselves forest people, they live, and there is Didi Suryamani, and Suryamani takes the children every Sunday to the forest to make them understand about the forest, to make them understand about the herbs and medicines and how you can get all of your needed things from the forest. Suryamani Didi is not an ordinary kind of a girl. She has fought her battles and she have overcome all the struggles in her life, and today she is here as a girl star. Growing up, Suryamani faced many struggles. Their family did not had enough money to send her to school. That's why there is one uncle of Suryamani, that is Munia Chacha. Munia Chacha got her admitted in a school. Munia Chacha stressed upon the fact that forest people cannot live in the forest because nowadays government have issued many contracts, and the forest people, the Adivasi, the tribal people are being removed from their place. What is the future if you do not study properly? So Suryamani got the idea from Munia Chacha that yes, study is very much important, and if you want to fight for your people, then you need to be educated enough so that you can fight for them. And Suryamani accepted the idea to get into studies, and she got in a school, and then she also got her higher education where she met a journalist, and with the journalist she took part in a movement to protect their forest and forest people. Suryamani's journey is not an ordinary journey. Suryamani actually done her BA, that is Bachelor's in Arts, graduation in Arts, that is called Bachelor's in Arts, and in short form we write it BA. And after getting the scholarship, she was the first girl in the village to do this. She met Vasavi Didi, who was a journalist, and she got into a movement, that is Jharkhand Jangal Bachao Andolan. She is fighting for her people and the forest. And there is also a law in the constitution that says that if somebody and some family live more than 25 years in and around the forest, then they are the permanent resident over there and nobody can remove them from there. You cannot get removed, you become a part of that place, part of the forest, because the forest people, the Adivasi, do not harm the forest. They plant more trees, they take care of the plants and trees over there, and they take care of the forest as a whole. Suryamani was 21 when she opened a center with the help of Vasavi Didi and others, that is named as Torang. Now what is Torang? Torang means jungle in Kuruk language. In Kuruk language, jungle is called Torang. So with Vasavi Didi's help, she opened up a center for people like her, for her own community people, so that they can come there, they can educate themselves. Children will go there and they will learn about the different things of their own community. Suryamani don't just want to educate the people, but she want that people should get attached with their own ethnics, with their own traditions. Like they should know how to make plates from leaves of fallen trees, and how to make baskets, how to recognize different herbs and medicines that we can get from the forest. So she want to encourage the children and people to love his or her own community. And just like that, Suryamani is working towards this. Now there was again one thing about lottery for farming in Mizoram. In Mizoram, what happens there? People randomly select the field on which they will do cultivation, means on which they will farm. There is a lottery system. Now what is a lottery system? Lottery system is a basis to choose somebody in a random way. You are not choosing somebody on partial on the biasness, means you are not choosing someone just because you are friend with someone or he or she is your family member, but you are randomly choosing field and people to do farming in Mizoram. There is also it is called as tin land, you can tin of land. Okay, so the actually the concept of tin of land is the tins are being uh, completely filled up with seeds, and according to the seeds, that how much seed can be spread on a piece of land, then that is known as the tin of land. Suppose I have one tin of completely filled up seeds, and if I can spread the seeds how much far away on a land, that much land is mine. So how much land can be covered up with the seeds, according to that the tin of land is known as the measurement. So when you are measuring a land, you can use seeds, that how much far away the seeds can be spread, so that you can measure it nicely with the tin of land. So it is not a very good standard of measurement, but they use this kind of things in that part of Mizoram. Now there is about jhum farming. What is jhum farming? Usually in jhum farming, the farming is done on a place, and then after few years of farming it is left uncultivated, it is left untouched. Then bamboo, grasses, shrubs, they grow on that place. Then they are burnt, the bamboos and the herbs and the shrubs, everything gets burnt, and after burning the ashes get mixed with the soil, and because of the ashes get mixed with the soil, then that's why the soil get more fertile, and after it then again farming is done on that place, but care should be taken so that the fire should not spread to the forest. Now let us discuss few sample question and answers. Here are few sample question and answer. Many more question can come in the exam which are from the book, in the book, so you have to read the chapter very carefully. The first sample question is, Suryamani says if the forests are not there, we too will not remain. Why so? The forests are an essential part of our life. They keep our environment neat and clean by absorbing most of the harmful gases and releasing oxygen. We also get many fruits, vegetables, medicines from this forest. Besides, many people living in the forest obtain their livelihood from it. They obtain their income, the source of income from there. Therefore, Suryamani says that if forests would disappear, we will also be destroyed. We cannot live without the forest. This phrase means this. The contractor did not allow Suryamani's people to go into the forest. Why? The contractor would have been cutting the trees and selling the wood of for his own profit. He thought if the forest people will use the forest for their own need, it would be a loss to him. Therefore, he did not allow Suryamani's people to go into the forest. As you know, a contractor is a person who takes the agreement or contract to do some work because he is being paid some money. So a contractor will be seeing his own profit. He doesn't want to allow any people from Suryamani's community to get inside the forest and take anything from the forest, because he is only thinking about his own benefit, his own profit. So when he is thinking about his own profit, he is not allowing anyone to get into the forest. The next sample question is, Budhyamai said, forest is our collective bank, not yours or mine alone. Are there some other things which are our collective wealth? So if someone uses more, everyone would suffer. So as collective bank is a forest, you have already learnt about it. So are there other things that are our collective wealth, our collective treasure? Let's see the answer. Yes, there are few other things which I believe are our collective wealth. If someone uses them more, everyone would be a loss. And such as the groundwater. If we take out the groundwater more and more, the groundwater level will decrease and everyone would suffer. The fishes in the seas and rivers. The fishes, if they are being taken out from the seas and rivers just for consumption, just for eating it out, then slowly it will decrease and they will vanish. The minerals found under the earth. Similarly, the minerals that we found under the earth like petroleum, coal and the other minerals, it will also vanish. Next question was, you can do it yourself. Do you have any Adivasi friend? What have you learnt about the forest from her? Do yourself. It is very easy. Do you know about somebody who is from the Adivasi community? Then you can write about him or her. Collect report about forests from newspapers. Did you find any news about how the cutting down of forest affect the weather? How? So any newspaper collection that already we have done in our activity. So hopefully you have done in your EVS activity copy. Let's come to the next question. Find out more about Cherao dance. Do it in your class, but be careful, don't hurt yourself. Now this dance is related with the forest people, the people of tribal community. Now Chirao is one of the traditional and oldest dance form of Mizoram. Since the time when Mizos used to live in hills in China. So when they used to live in the hills of China, from that era, from that past year, this dance have come to the modern time, and it is a very traditional old form of dance which is being danced in Mizoram. This dance is performed by individual or family in most of their festivals and big occasions, such as when there is a bumper harvest of a crop. There is a harvest of a crop and it is a happy occasion. It is also performed in marriage occasions. In this dance, men sit face to face on the ground and tap and beat long pairs of horizontal and cross bamboo sticks in a rhythmic beat. Rhythmic beat means on the beat of music. Girls in colorful Mizo costumes dance in and out between the bamboo sticks. I hope you have seen it in TV or in some movie, because this dance is very famous all around the world. But it is a traditional Mizo dance. Gongs and drums are being beaten up with the music, and this dance is performed in the very colorful dresses. What is similar and what is different between Jhum farming and Bhaskar Bhai's first farming? Now, this question is related to the previous chapter which is not in the syllabus. Previous chapter which is not in the syllabus, but still there is a sample question about this in the book, in the chapter of Whose Forest. So we can talk about it only for knowledge, only for our understanding. Similarities between Bhaskar Bhai's farming and Jhum farming. In both these methods of farming, the manures prepared in the factories are not used. Rather, the natural manures formed automatically in the farm itself it is used. So the manures or fertilizers from the factories or from the shops that we bought is not used. The natural manures which are produced through the farming process only is used. The difference between the two farming is Bhaskar Bhai used plant waste like dead and rotten leaves, stem, roots, etc. to make manure. He dumped them in a pit and allowed to decompose. This automatically got converted into manure. Further, the earthworms also formed small pits in the soil and make it soft and ready for farming. So this was Bhaskar Bhai's way of farming. This was the natural way of farming. Similarly, jhum farming is also a natural way of farming. Whereas in jhum farming, the weeds are burnt in the field and the ashes are mixed with the soil, which acts as a manure. Moreover, the land is not plowed but shallow trenches are made in the soil. So, jhum farming already we have discussed. What is jhum farming? Only Bhaskar Bhai's way of farming we didn't have read because the chapter is not in the syllabus. So you have an idea now what was Bhaskar Bhai way of farming. It was also a natural way of farming. Now the next sample question. Explain in your own words why forests are important for the people living in the forest. Now this is very common question which is very easy. You can write by yourself also. Forests are very important for people living in the forest. They are living there since their childhood and thus have many sentiments, many emotions attached with the forest. They play, sing, dance and study in the forest. They obtain their livelihood from the forest, means they obtain their income to carry on their life from the forest, means by selling the herbs and medicines in the market they can obtain a kind of income so that they can survive. They collect leaves and herbs from the forest and sell these in bazaar, weave the basket from bamboo, leaf plates from fallen leaves, prepare medicine from the herbs. Thus their life is entirely dependent on they can't imagine or live without the forest. Did you find something in jhum farming? What is it? This is the next question. Yes, there are few things that are very interesting in jhum farming, such as the weeds are not removed but these are burnt and the ashes are mixed with the soil to make it ready for sowing. So this is something which happens only in jhum farming and not in any other farming. The land is not plowed, but shallow trenches are made in the soil in which the seeds are sown. So it is not plowed, but shallow trenches are made with hands maybe, and then the seeds are sown in that land. Mixed seeds of various crops are sown like paddy, maize, chili, vegetables, sesame seeds, etc. So various kind of crops can be grown in the field because after the ashes get mixed with the soil it becomes very fertile. Now we will talk about our next chapter that is in the revision of today's video, that is on the move again. So we are talking about Dhanu's village. Who is Dhanu? Now Dhanu is a small boy who goes to school and his family is struggling. Not only his family but many families in his village are struggling to get job for the whole year. So these are some people who are seasonal workers. Seasonal workers means any worker who find job or who find work only for a particular season and the rest of the year gets unemployed, remains unemployed. So that people are known as seasonal workers. So Dhanu's family is also a seasonal worker. There are many members in his family who gets job only for a few months, maybe for 6 months, and the rest 6 months they don't have any work. They didn't get any job. So here they are preparing puran poli. It is a sweet dish, sweet roti made from jaggery and gram, means gur and besan. Okay, along with the spicy curry dish because they are enjoying themselves. It is a very festival kind of a situation, festival kind of feeling in the family, and everybody is enjoying by making sweet dishes, and the day passes in laughing and chatting. But by evening, everybody's mood changed. The women and children begin to pack their luggage. The men sit down in the Mukarram. Agent comes. Now, who is a Mukarram? Mukarram is an agent who lends money, who gives money for lending purpose, and also he comes and tells the family of the villager in the village that they have to work in which field for the next 6 months. Here the Mukarram has come, and he is not only lending only money but also giving them task, also giving them work, that where they have to go for the remaining 6 months of the year, where they have to work, and after working only they can pay to the Mukarram. And they work only for the 6 months, and the rest 6 months they stay unemployed, so they have to survive with whatever money they have saved and whatever money they have lent from the Mukarram, from the agent. So everyone borrows money from the Mukarram. To pay back this money, they have to work for the Mukarram. Mukarram is an agent for sugarcane factory. He helped them to find work in the sugarcane field and sugarcane factory. So this is how their life goes on. After the Shera, they have to pack their bags and go for their work in some other village or in some other area of maybe the outskirts of cities, maybe some location where there is sugarcane field and sugarcane factory. So they are packing their bags and they are going away. So now like Dhanu also is going with them, because he also work with their family member in the field and factory. But the people who are seriously ill, very small children and old people, they stay back in the village. Now Dhanu's schools is you can say he goes school for only 6 months a year. The rest 6 months he cannot go because he have to go for work with his family. Why he have to work with his family? Because the more hands, then the more income will come. If there will be more people to work in the fields or factories, then they can earn more money and they can survive for the rest 6 months. Similarly, the old and the ill people or the very small children who cannot work in the field or in the factory, they stay back in the village. Now, on the move again few sample question and answer we will discuss. Again I am telling you, these are the sample question and answer. Apart from this question and answer, there can be many questions which will be related directly with the chapter. So you have to read the chapter very carefully. So let's come to the first question. During what time of the year did Dhanu's family get work in the village? Dhanu's family get work in the village till Shera from before the rainy season. They do not get work during the remaining 6 months when there is no rain and no work in the field. So because they have a job only for the 6 months, the next 6 months they have to stay unemployed. If people in Dhanu's village did not leave the village in search of work, what difficulties would they face in their own village? If they do not leave for the work, then what will they face? If people in Dhanu's village did not leave the village in search of work, they would face many difficulties, like they would not be able to get enough money to get their food, other household articles to live, or would not be able to afford their children school fees. So even they cannot survive with whatever they have if they do not go to work for the 6 months. Next question you will do by yourself. Next question is, Dhanu's family and many other from the village go far away for work, but some people stay away in the village. Why does this happen? Already we have discussed about this. Again we will discuss this in the answer. When Dhanu's family and many others from the village go far away for work, some people stay back in the village in order to protect and take care of their houses and other household variables. And also because they are old or maybe very small to work, or maybe they are ill, so they cannot work in the field or factories. That's why also they stay back. What arrangements are made at your home for old and unwell family member when everyone goes to work? You have to write the answer by yourself. Next, why does Mami wish that Dhanu should go to school for the whole year and study? Mami wishes Dhanu should go to school for the whole year and study so that he can study well and get a good job and work independently. He could become a rich person and earn a good reputation in the society and should not suffer like his family members. So if he goes to school like Mami always want him to go to school on a regular basis, he can survive by his own. He does not have to work for 6 months and the other 6 months he will be unemployed. He should not have to face that in his life. Next question. Dhanu has to go with his village people to other place. Can there be some arrangement during that time so that Dhanu continues his study? What kind of arrangement? Yes, when Dhanu has to go with his village people to other places, he can go to any nearby school. If there are many such children, then small classes can be conducted under the trees. Usually, maybe you have seen in villages, school classes are conducted under a tree if there is no building provided for the school. So, this arrangement can be done if they really want to study and if really the government or the people who takes care of the villages think in this direction. What happens when you are able to go to school for a long time? You can write this answer by yourself. It is a very nice, easy question that you can do by yourself. The next question also you can read and understand because it is a very good question. The next one is, what are the similarities and differences in the lives of different kinds of farmer? There is few similarities and differences in the life of farmers, the way of their farming and the way of their living. So let's see what are the different similarities. There are many similarities and differences in the lives of different kinds of farmers. Some similarities are, most of the farmers are fully dependent on farming to earn their living. So they are fully dependent means they are in the whole year they are working on their farms and they are getting their livelihood, they are getting their income from that. In most cases, all the family members are engaged in farming. Mostly in every farmer's house, all the members or mostly all the members are engaged in farming. Most of them are dependent on the gains from the farming. Whatever income or whatever profit is made from the farming, they are dependent on that. Most of them have to borrow a lot of money in order to get good machines on their farm. Most of them have to get a good loan of money so that they can take care of the farm with the good machines. Most of them are illiterate. The education of farmer or their family is very low, so mostly they are illiterate in many cases in many villages of India. Most of them follow the same basic method for farming or irrigation or etc. So most of the farmers follow the same methods of farming that they have already done, and the differences you can see by yourself. And if any doubt is there after reading the similarities or differences or anything that you will read in your chapter, then kindly contact personally and clear your doubts in the doubt clearing classes. That's all for the revision part of today's video. Thank you. Stay safe, study hard, children.